All right, guys, welcome back to Gambit Market Podcast. This is episode 6, right? 6, Braden? It's crazy, man.
Yes, sir,
Wow.
man. We're getting in our groove now.
We're here with Braden, Lockwood, and, for those of you guys that don't speak Spanish, hola, welcome to that's the only Spanish you get.
Bienvenido.
Oh, yeah, you actually speak Spanish. That's cool.
We're expanding our audience, man.
We gotta grow. Okay, Braden, talk to us, man. What's going on today?
Not much, man. I am currently in San Francisco on a little road trip. My little brother just turned 16, so I'm driving him up my car, and I'm going to give him my car as a little older brother present.
You're giving a whole car to your little brother?
I mean, it's like 10 years old, but yeah, someone gave me my first car, and pay it forward.
It's really cool, man. It's really cool. Last episode, I think every single episode you've been in a different location. Is this the first time we got you, man, finally in the same location?
Well, the same city, but I'm not in the same location, technically. I'm about like an hour north of San Francisco, kind of like where the redwoods start. So I'm still holding strong. But next week we'll be in Seattle, and then we're going to be in Seattle for a couple months. So cool. I think I'll eventually lose my streak.
Well, with that logic, I've been in different locations. One time it was in my bedroom. Now we're in my kitchen. So
yeah, nice. Nice, man.
Okay, come on. So today, guys, we have a very, very interesting topic, actually. And this is something that we kind of spoke about off camera because it's interesting, man. Like, is this gambling or is this investing? Like, what is this really?
This is the question.
It's an interesting question.
And I don't know the answer, but we're going to figure it out today, Echo. We're going to get to the bottom of it.
How about today's episode? We'll pretend like no one's watching. We're just two humans trying to figure out and philosophize whether or not this is gambling or not.
Yeah, we can try that, Echo. We'll see the quality of the podcast we produce. But yeah, I think there's a lot to go off in this topic. Just like prediction markets in general. Are they closer to like a casino, and anyone who thinks they're not is just kind of kidding themselves? Or is prediction markets like a new form of investing, And I think, yeah, that is the question, Echo. Where do you want to start us off with a first stab at it?
Well, I guess my first thought is I always try to put things into boxes and define things so we can have axioms that we can work off of, And I think the first question is what is gambling? And then what is investing? And then the thing is, sometimes the best way to define something is to give examples of it so we can contextualize it properly for the discussion. So I don't know. For me, I'm just thinking gambling is at face value. It's a thing that you put money in. You may lose your money. You may not lose your money, right? Like at face value. But then I think about investing. It's the same thing. You put your money in. You may lose your money. You may not lose your money. So I'm trying to figure out really what's the distinction between the two so we can form proper definitions and then apply that definition to predictive markets. That's what I'm thinking, but maybe that's not the best approach. What do you think?
No, I think you're on the right track. And I think ultimately for me, the difference between gambling and investing is if a certain amount of research can allow you to make an informed decision about what you're doing that pushes the odds in your favor. Because in both cases, right, investing, gambling, yeah, you're putting in money. The money's either going to go up or down. You can lose money, you can make money. But a slot machine, there's no amount of preparation that goes in before you sit in front of a slot machine that increases your chances of doing well, right? You're just pressing that button and you have no control. Whereas if you were around, I don't know, 20 years ago, right? And you saw everything, the internet emerging and everything going online, and you thought to yourself, this is the trend that the world is going in. And then you said, where can I put my money that's going to kind of receive exposure to this trend? That's an informed decision that obviously would have paid out enormously. I don't know what you were doing 20 years ago, Echo, but we should have been dollar cost averaging into Apple.
Yeah. So 20 years ago, I was 6 years old or 7 years old. So I didn't really have.
Yeah.
opportunity.
You weren't buying your first Bitcoin?
Uh, so I get what you're saying. I don't want to. Can I play devil's advocate and push back? Because I think that's the only way
Please,
we get the truth. Like we have to
please
push.
do.
It seems like what you're saying is that there's a constant reality in both. One, basically, it's you put money in, and it can go up or down. And it seems like you're saying like the very nature of it going up and down cannot be the determining factor whether something's like gambling or not gambling. And so now you're pointing towards this other variable called the research variable, which is like if doing this incrementally increases odds of this, then therefore it seems like you're saying it's not gambling. But the problem I have with that
Yeah.
is I can legitimately go walk into a casino, look at, blackjack, and I can study, basic strategy. And from that research, I've now incrementally increased my probability of success. And then I can go deeper research and maybe like figure out how to count a 4 deck or maybe a 6 deck. And then now not only have I incrementally increased my research, I've actually increased the odds of me winning by like maybe 0.4 or 0.8%. So this is like an example where like this extra variable that you're like appealing to doesn't actually help the case. Because if I was to ask right now, is counting cards at a casino gambling? I'd hope you'd say yes, right?
I would say no. And I would
What?
say,
Braden, are you
okay,
insane?
hear me out. Hear
I
me
gotta
out.
for this, dude. I can't. I need a breather. Okay, let's lock it, dude.
No. And here's my argument that counting cards at a casino is not gambling. Is because if it was gambling, you'd be able to do it at a casino. Like a casino is a place for gambling. And when you start counting cards and start doing like measurable behaviors that improve your probability of success, it becomes against the casino's rules and regulations, right? And they can ban you from the casino. So that's my counterpoint, I guess. If counting cards was gambling, you'd be able to do it.
Braden, one sec. That still doesn't help your case because like, let's completely get rid of the idea of counting cards. Let's look at the first principles of what you're alluding to. You're saying if you appeal to this research variable and you research more and it increases your odds here, then therefore it's not gambling. Basic strategy is something the casino promotes. They give you the card. People can, gamble with basic strategy, still lose and still win. And this is an example where you're appealing to research and it's still gambling. Is it not? So it seems like research is not the variable. Like it cannot be the variable.
No, I hear you. And listen,
I'm sorry, bro.
Blackjack is my game of choice. Like when I go to Vegas, I'm a blackjack guy because I do feel like it's the most in my control, even though it's not. But I guess here's the question: with basic strategy, without counting cards, you over time you still lose in blackjack. Yes,
exactly.
or no?
Yeah, exactly. So that's
that's what I'm saying. The research angle, it might allow you to outperform someone in blackjack that has no idea what they're doing, right? Like if they get dealt a hand of like 2 kings and they hit, right? Like there's some element of skill where like you have to like basic common sense that you're going to make good decisions can improve your likelihood. But I'd say the argument still stands because basic strategy still will never, over a long enough period of time without counting cards, still will never make you profitable as a gambler. So
yeah. So it seems like now there's this third variable, which is like there's the reality of like money going up and down. There's the research variable, and now you're saying there's this like almost tipping point where upon researching, can you surpass the odds where you're at least 1% better? And if research can get you to that, then therefore it's not gambling, it's a system, right?
I think that tracks. And then if we apply that to prediction markets, right? Because we know this is the case for investing. We know that if you go into the stock market and you are someone with like a good eye for trends in the future, you will be able to kind of see things play out, do research, and then identify companies that are going to benefit from the trends that you see, and you will make money. Like everyone that's played in the stock market for the last like 20 straight years has pretty much made money. So the like traditional investing definitely qualifies for this new factor of research having to like go over the tipping point of profitability. But is there enough track record in prediction markets for us to say that there really are profitable prediction market traders? You know, like it's all pretty new.
KO, there's something that doesn't feel right about this. I don't know if we should go into it. Should we go deep into it or no? Like, is it? What do you think, Braden?
Go deep. Go deep. We got 20 minutes to go. Go deep.
Okay, look. So I still don't think I agree with that rule of the reality of money going up and down, the research variable, and the tipping point variable, right? Because under that view, counting cards in the casino is not gambling, which no problem. We'll bite that bullet there. But then trading stocks would then be gambling. And I can prove it under the same lens if you want me to show you how?
Yeah.
Okay. Trading stocks, you put money in, your money can go up and down. Great. The first variable, check. The second variable, I can research when I trade stocks, right? Great. But the third variable, the tipping point variable, which is like, upon doing all this research, can I increase my odds? That's undetermined and can never be proven in the stock market. I can give you many examples. You can have a stock. Here it is, bro. Here's just what it is. You can have a stock with great, technical analysis. It has extremely bullish patterns. And you can have a stock, that same stock with great technical analysis, have extremely great fundamental analysis, which means maybe their revenue's up, their earnings up. They just recruited the CEO of Amazon. Elon Musk just joined. You can have all these amazing factors and variables. And you can see like the trends doing well. So you can have a stock with a great technical analysis, great fundamental analysis. You did all the possible research humanly possible, and every indicator says it's going to go up, and it could still crash. Versus counting cards, it's like 100% guaranteed to have a 1% edge.
Yeah, but I think in your counter example, I feel like you're playing devil's advocate to like the extreme, where in both cases, investing and gambling, everyone is on the same page that there's a risk of losing money, right? Like you can invest in the best company in the world. If a financial crisis hits, it doesn't matter. It's like, and the same in crypto, right? You could have the best altcoin in the world. If Bitcoin takes a 10% hit, your altcoin is going down 50%, no matter the fundamentals. And so I think that's, you can't like discount investing as a like real strategy just because there's a risk of losing money, because there's a risk in everything, right? There's a risk in gambling, there's a risk in prediction markets, there's a risk in investing.
It's not so much the risk, Braden. It's the fact that like no matter how much research I do, I can never get to a guaranteed edge in the market.
But edge doesn't mean you're like, it's not 1 or 0. It's not 0 or 100. It's probabilistic, right? So if you do the same analysis on 20 different stocks that you're saying, that you're like, I see bullish catalysts, I see strong fundamentals, it's revenue generating, etc. And you put your money into 20 of those companies, maybe 3 of those companies are going to go under, you're going to lose that investment, but the overall strategy is going to make you money. And I think the stock market has a long enough track record of this that I don't think we can argue that investing in the traditional stock market is like not, it should be considered gambling. I think the real question that we're trying to get to, Echo, is like prediction markets is somewhere in between gambling and investing. And the question is like, how far on either side is it? And so I'm going to make an interesting case, Echo, and I know you're going to push back on it, but I'm going to make the case that the future of prediction markets, maybe not the where it is right now and how it is used right now, but that the future of prediction markets is closer to investing than gambling. And this is why. if you think about traditional investing, the first analysis that someone is doing before they invest in a company or they pick a company is generally to identify some trend, right? So if you wanted to invest in data centers, right? Probably the first thing that you're doing is you're saying, okay, my first guess is AI consumption is going to double in the next year or something, right? You're saying this is very clear to me. These models are growing, consumer usage is growing. I think AI consumption is going to double. And so then what does that mean for these companies? And you're taking another leap from this raw prediction and you're saying, okay, well, if AI usage doubles in 2027, this data center is going to triple their revenue. So I'm going to invest in this data center. And what I like about prediction markets and why I think there's an angle for the future of prediction markets to be closer to investing is that you can almost predict on the raw, like your raw analysis. Like there will be a market that is just, will AI usage double in 2027? And you don't have to make that additional analysis where you say, if AI usage doubles, then this data center will increase its revenue and its share price will go up. It's almost a rawer form of predicting the future, and you don't need this additional risk factor of, and if this happens, then this company will increase its revenue. So what do you think about that, Echo?
No, I see the point you're making, and right away I'm thinking about the two different ways to really resolve or to make money with predictive markets. There's like waiting for it to resolve. Like, will Donald Trump become president? Right? You can hold on to your, yes or no and wait and see what happens. That's like literally trying to predict the future. But then there's also like me exiting a no position midway through, depending on how many people buy yeses, right? That's like another way to make money with predictive markets. And like, I don't know if this is, I'm just going to give you like this something that I just thought about and like you go with it if you want. But maybe I'm not trading like for example, will Donald Trump become president? Maybe I'm not trading this event. Maybe I'm trading the psychology of humans and what they might think given certain events. So for example, say Justin Bieber posts a very viral video where he's super pro Trump and he says, Trump's going to win for sure. And because of Justin Bieber's massive influence, maybe a bunch of people buy more yeses, right? So that's an example where like, oh, if a viral person or influencer posts something about this person, human psychology would say that there'd be more yeses that are bots. Now that's an emotional decision, not a rational one, but I can profit from the emotional side of the market. Do you see what I mean? That's an example where predictive markets I don't think is gambling at all. It's like you're trading human psychology, which is interesting. I don't know.
Which is markets, and this doesn't apply to the casino, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Like there's, and I guess to go even further on your example, I would argue that while it's not rational, if just Justin Bieber came out, I don't know how influential he is right now. I guess he did the World Cup halftime show, so he's got some sway for sure. But if he came out and endorsed Trump, it's not just emotions. He actually is moving the probability because he has that influence. So even though maybe the fundamentals of the election haven't changed, celebrity endorsements, influencers, like this is the world we live in. This actually does change probabilities. And so if you knew beforehand, or if you had an inkling that a wave of influencer celebrities were going to endorse one side of a presidential election, then you could position yourself before those endorsements came in and you could exit afterwards. But in order to do that, what would you need, Echo? You would need to do some research or have some type of
insight,
some type of insight, which I guess is a good like transition into what ultimately I think is my answer is that it can be both. Like prediction markets can be gambling and it can be investing. It depends on how you use it.
Yes. Yeah.
and
I mean,
and the
investing,
tools that you use with it.
like even the stock market, like that's not automatically investing. Like if
Yeah.
I brought my little sister to go on the, the stock market terminal, the Bloomberg terminal, and to do some quote unquote research and make trades, it's like she's just gambling. Let's be real here. Like you don't know. And it might be options which
Yeah,
means you completely lose your money, right? So I
totally.
think what you're saying is like the platform isn't really the variable. It's like what the user does on the platform, right?
Because ultimately, like prediction markets are just technology, right? And I think this is another point to potentially differentiate prediction markets from regular gambling is, let's take sports, for example, which I think is probably the grayest area, because I'm not convinced that there's any amount of analysis that anyone can do in sports that produces a long-term edge. Like I know there's sharps out there and there's people that um, seem to have a good betting record, but like I'm not sure if there's like a tipping point with sports where research can produce returns. However, I do think sports betting on DraftKings, where you have this house, right, that takes such a big cut in the middle that even with an edge, like to outperform the house over a long period of time is extremely difficult. And so I do think that's a cool thing that prediction markets have done for us, is they essentially connect two market participants peer to peer, and they allow someone with let's say a 2% edge to make money. Whereas if you were trying to make money in DraftKings with a 2% edge, it's not possible because the house cut is like 2 to 4%. So even with an edge, you're still losing because of the house odds.
Yeah. So then like with predictive markets, if I was to ask you like at face value, what are some quote unquote things that a user would need to do or look at in order to make it not gambling and more investing? What would it be? And like one thing, for example, that I could think about would be like, actually, I'm gonna let you say it first, and we'll see. Like,
I guess I'm gonna soft shill Gambit here. I think this
exactly,
is the right
that's
moment.
exactly what I was gonna say. Yeah.
Because like, yeah, there's like when I'm on a hot streak in prediction markets right now. So I'm like, I'm feeling like prediction markets. There is a strategy that you can apply to make money, and I think just going off of my experience, using analytic tools to look into a market before deciding where to place your money is extremely helpful. And so a few of those tools that I think really help is, like for sports, we have certain stats models that, whether I believe long term or not, like can actually apply an edge, like have been really accurate so far, especially in like stats run sports like baseball, basketball, tennis. I have noticed like that as an analysis tool is really helpful. And then certain AI tools, like we talked in previous episodes about, smart money analysis, seeing where profitable traders are positioning themselves, using AI to help analyze markets. Um, I think that would be my answer, is like, that's the basic research I'm doing on almost every market that I enter in. I'm seeing where the stats are pointing. I'm seeing where smart money wallets are positioning themselves. I'm using AI, and especially if multiple indicators are pointing towards one outcome, I usually listen to that. And especially if that confirms like my own inkling, what I already kind of wanted to do, I'm using as confirmation to then enter the trade. And so far, Echo, this seems to be a good strategy.
No,
I'm applying the research. I'm developing an edge. I'm hitting a tipping point. I'm investing. Yes or no?
I mean, listen, tomato, tomato. One perspective, we're investing. Another perspective might be that we're just like a bunch of gambling addicts that buying. I mean, like quite literally, what you said verbatim could be tied to like a cognitive bias known as confirmation bias, which is like
For sure, for sure.
data that are signals. I mean, look, I I would say that's making like anytime you try to make a rational decision, I can't really say that's gambling because like you're
Yeah,
basing it off of data. And if I'm gonna before I do a predictive market, for example, if I'm gonna look at like the smart money to see where the smart money are the smart money voting yes? Are they voting no? Are they even on this event to begin with? That's interesting. That's an interesting variable. Plus, you tie everything else to it. It's like the one thing I really do like about predictive markets is that it is heavily dependent upon the blockchain. So literally everything's tracked. Like if a
yeah,
wallet buys something and that wallet keeps freaking winning every single time consistently, and you get to see what that wallet's now doing within something that you might trade in, that's an interesting variable. And you'd be an idiot not to like use that towards your advantage. The
yeah,
problem is people don't even know that they have access to this information because it's literally on the chain. That's why I like Gambit markets. It takes everything that's like hidden underneath and it surfaces it to
totally.
the user in a nice like way to make decisions. So that's why I wouldn't say like I'd say it leans towards investing, not gambling, because of Gambit. If it wasn't for Gambit, I personally think no, like listen,
You went from soft shell to hard shell, Echo.
listen, I
I wasn't gonna make that claim, but I like it. Go for it.
no, dude, like why? Like, look, I want to make money in predictive markets. Great. I have two options in front of me. I can go to Polymarket and Kalshi where everyone else goes, or I can go to Gambit Markets and use agents and have access to information that I don't have
Yeah.
access to. Like, why wouldn't I try to make data-driven decisions? You know?
And you actually you brought one last point that I wanted to make on this topic, which ties into another analysis tool that we have live now, which is insider trading. And so I would argue that because insider trading happens on prediction markets, it has to be investing because like insider trading only happens in investing situations, right? Like the definition of insider trading means that you are entering a trade because of knowledge that you have that maybe like you shouldn't have that disproportionately puts you at an advantage. And so like when Trump like entered like different wars and was making different decisions about the Strait of Hormuz, we noticed a lot of blockchain activity that was basically like people front running these press conferences and making a ton of money by accessing that information. And we actually built out an analysis tool to like detect this type of wallet activity. And so you can also see you can also see like if there's suspicious insider activity in a market, which again, this feels a lot like investing, Echo. This feels a lot like investing.
Yo, I was laughing because I'm thinking, yo, it's one of the two. It's either we're like so wrong and this is gambling, or it's like investing.
Listen, I think the takeaway, Echo, is when I'm losing money, it's gambling, and when I'm making money, it's investing.
Exactly. And if you haven't made money gambling yet, guys, just know 100% of the people that lose in gambling are the ones that quit. And so you just have to keep going.
You just need to deposit more. That's the answer.
More money. No, I think the answer is it really does depend on the user and the tools
Yeah.
that the user decides to use. If you decide to use, maybe listen, I mean, I could maybe wake up and see that it's raining outside, and I can take that as data to then not bet on a yes and bet on a no. And from that person's user's lens, like, oh, I made data-driven decisions, but did you really like maybe,
Yeah.
so I guess it all depends on the user, right? So I personally have this
Yeah.
subjective opinion because I am on this team, obviously. Maybe that's one of them. I mean, people are obviously going to watch this, Braden, and be like, yo, these guys are, they're obviously in Gambit, so they're obviously going to promote Gambit, but like, I genuinely don't know any other way. Like,
Yeah.
would you not want to get data to then make decisions? And wouldn't it be nice to have all this data consolidated in one place? Like, I don't know.
Echo, I think you just closed this out, man. I think that's our closer. And now it's roll credits because it's not getting any better than that, Echo.
Well, listen, I got to choose option one or option two.
All right, I'm gonna go with one this time.
Okay,
Give me
guys,
something
those
nice.
guys are watching for the first time. Basically, on the outro, what we like to do is I give Braden 2 options. Each option represents a song style, and it's AI generated. So you chose option 1, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so that's minimal house. So we'll
Okay.
see how.
I feel good about option 1, man.
I think this is the best.
Anyways, thank you guys for tuning in. This has been Echo and Braden on the Gambit Markets Podcast, episode 6. We'll see you next week.
See you guys.
Cheers.